guys! Welcome back to another edition of Poorly Lit Rambles with me, Lindsay. So it's time for another Once Upon a Time review, which I realise lately the word review is probably being used very loosely because what I am doing is more just chatting about the episode. So if you want to hear me chat about the most recent episode of Once Upon a Time, which was 510 Broken Heart, please continue watching. Broken Heart was a particularly appropriate name for this episode, so thank you Adam and Eddy for writing an episode title which reflected exactly what you did to us all in the course of this episode. I have a lot of things to say, so I'm trying to decide where best to start because my thought process right now is all over the place. So 510 was a continuation on of what happened in 5-8, and the end of 5-8 was one of the most heartbreaking, horrifying things that they have done to date. Emma turning Killian into another dark one to save his life was such a show of how much he means to her that I almost couldn't bear it, and it was perfect. But I knew that this was going to be awful, and I knew that it was going to be difficult to watch. But what I think they did, which was horribly unfair, is if you watched the sneak peek clip, which I did, they misled you greatly, because the sneak peek clip was when Dark Hook went into the shop to confront Rumple and Belle, and they were standing there, and that scene had probably the most comic tone of the entire episode, so it lulled me into a false sense of security because I watched that scene and I was like, oh, okay, he is angry with her, he is going to be angry with her for a while, but it's going to be kind of fun, and they're going to put like a kind of like not light-hearted, but like a comic twist on this really dark turn, and it's all going to be okay. It was not all okay, it was all awful. And I think the thing that I have to say here is that I trust the writers, and that is what I am holding on to desperately here, is that I trust Adam and Eddy, and I trust the writers. The story that they have written up to this point has been so beautiful and perfect and amazingly written in terms of the road that Emma and Killian have taken to get to where they are now. And I'm so sorry to anyone who is not a massive Captain Swan shipper who is watching this video, because you know I can't control my feelings when it comes to them. The road that they've taken to get to this point in their relationship and everything that they've gone through has been so important, and it's been leading somewhere, and it's been leading to the point that they are going to get married and live happily ever after. Okay, that's what's going to happen, and it's going to be fine. But I know that if they want to do another whole season, it would be boring if they didn't throw in sort of trials and tribulations. And I think what's so amazing about this pairing is that they have both been through such difficult things, and they've both been through times of sort of darkness and difficulty in their life, and they kind of see the best in each other, and they've helped each other through that. And what this episode did so nicely, while tearing my heart apart in the Storybrooke scenes, but in the Camelot scenes, I think what it did was it reached this point where what we've had up until this episode really, or up until the past couple of episodes, is Emma obviously understanding her feelings for Killian but never being able to really vocalise them or talk about them in any sort of like real way. And in the past couple of episodes we have seen that she has kind of just let go completely of those walls and that guard, and has reached the point where she's totally comfortable to just tell him that she loves him and tell him that she wants this future with him and that she would do anything for him. And I think what people, or certainly what I love about Emma, is that something that I think is very relatable is that kind of difficulty in getting to that point, and the fact that it is quite a big deal and it is something that she struggles with, and the fact that she has now got to this point that she is just totally comfortable to tell him this. And it's just so sad because this is exactly what he's wanted, and this is what he's waited for all of this time. There was so much talk in this episode about the fact that he's the one person who's never abandoned her, well, other than Henry. He's the one person who has never abandoned her. Even the other people who have loved her in her life have walked away from her, not to hurt her, they've walked away for what they thought was the right reasons. So her parents walked away for what they thought were the right reasons, Neil walked away for what he thought were the right reasons, but still they walked away from her and they left her and they made her feel abandoned, and he is the one person who never did that, and she understands that. Oh, it just is so lovely, and oh, I love them so much. And this episode was just very hard to watch. I'll take a moment just now just to quickly say this because it has to be acknowledged. But I don't want to spend too much time on it because, I mean, there's really only so many ways you can say this, but Colin O'Donoghue in this episode, not only was he like probably the hottest that he's been in. And I mean, he's always gorgeous. Colin O'Donoghue as Killian Jones is one of the most attractive human beings there is, and that's fine. Well, from my eyes anyway. And so he's always got that going for him, so that's fine. But in this episode, and I hate myself for it, because I told Roisin this, because at the time when Roisin and I went out for dinner on Monday, and at that point I hadn't seen the episode, but I'd seen the sneak peek, so I'd seen the scene in the shop with Rumple and Belle. And I was like, I hate myself for this because I shouldn't find him as attractive as he is. Speaking of, I would like to say one of my favourite scenes. See what I said about this video? It's got no continuity, no sense of, let's talk about the episode from beginning to end. It's just going to jump all over the place. But one scene that I particularly enjoyed because it really made me laugh was the scene in Camelot when he'd been turned into the Dark One and what had happened? He'd been turned into the Dark One and he and Emma had met up and they'd talked and whatever, and then there were various scenes in Storybrooke. And then it came back to Camelot and they were standing kind of in this like random dark forest kissing. And she like kind of pushed him away and was like, right, like enough distractions now. Firstly, can we just say that Emma Swan is a character with the most self-control that we have ever witnessed. But moving on from that, the best part about that scene was that the 2 lines after that just made like no sense at all whatsoever, which I really enjoyed because it just felt like they weren't thinking clearly at all. She said something along the lines of, I'm gonna go something about finding their path where they were gonna go, and then he said something about, I'm gonna go and replenish our water supply. And you're like, alright, okay, I don't think that that's something that you need to do as Dark Ones, because if you need water you can just magic yourself to a river somewhere. So whatever that meant, I enjoyed because it just really, like, very little time, like, once upon a time's a magical land, very strange magical things happen in conversations over magic, and things happen a lot of the time that out of context don't make sense, but within the context of the show do. So there's very rarely a moment that you're like, what was that even for? And those lines really entertained me, so that was good. I'm focused now on all the niceness, so that was quite a cute moment. I think what was really hard about the Camelot scenes was that Emma was kind of torn because he told her on his deathbed, he told her that he didn't want to be the Dark One and that he would rather die, and she went against his wishes. So not only did she go against his wishes, but once he'd said to her, I'm not going to be able to be strong enough, I am not going to be able to fight the darkness the way that you have, I can't do it, I will let it overtake me. And she didn't really listen to that, but once he has become the Dark One and she's got Excalibur and kind of pretended initially that she didn't know where it was, he's kind of like doubly hurt because not only has she not listened to what he said in the first place, but she then doesn't. It wasn't that she went against his wishes because she believed that he could do it. She went against his wishes because she couldn't bear to lose him, and now that he is the Dark One, he felt that she didn't have the faith in him to control himself. I don't think that she actually had any intention of controlling him with it. I think she just didn't want him to have it. And then obviously that then led to really unfortunate situations where she would say like, Killian, wait, and then that controlled him inadvertently. So that scene I thought was really interesting. I thought Jen and Colin were both absolutely stupendous in it because there was so much going on in that scene because he was so angry and she was so devastated but trying to explain to him why she did what she did. And they were just so good. And I mean, they're always good. We know this. We know how I feel about them. But in that scene in particular, I felt it was probably one of the strongest scenes in the episode. Probably because the other scenes made me horribly upset. But I like that. I like the fact that she had then sort of told him that she loved him and he'd said, oh, like, I'm usually the one who has to say that first. Which I thought was an interesting comment because in actual fact, despite the fact that we've known for a very long time that he loves her, he's not actually said it that many times on camera. So it just makes me think that off camera, not off camera, but out with the scenes that we are seeing, maybe he's supposed to have said it more. I'm not sure, but I like that idea if that's true. I'm very quickly going to talk about the scene that I don't want to talk about because I don't have positive feelings about it at all and I don't understand it. It's the one scene that does annoy me because I will get to my thought process after this. But the scene where he turned up at the house just to be horrible to her, like, I hated that, and I'm sure you can imagine that I hated that because what I thought from the promo when we saw that little clip of him saying, I want to hurt you the way you've hurt me or like you've hurt me, And I was like, no, this is awful. And I'd really hoped that that was out of context and then accepted that there's no acceptable context for that sentence. I really hope that within the context of whatever the scene was, that he was going to be saying, I want to hurt you like you've hurt me. How can you've done this to me and this is how I'm feeling right now, but I'm fighting, like every part of me is fighting against it. And no, it wasn't. It was just him literally just being awful to her. My theory, which is the way that I reached this, is the reasons behind this are threefold. My theory was that although his thirst for revenge for Rumple was back and that he did desperately want to get revenge on Rumple, I wondered if underneath that he was aware of what was happening and was going to use this desire for revenge on Rumple as a distraction. And this is what I'm still sort of to a certain extent desperately hoping is the case, that although he is filled with this anger and this darkness and this rage, there's a part of him underneath that remembers how he felt when he was about to die and that he didn't want this to happen and that all he wanted was to save Emma from the darkness. So he's focusing on this thirst for revenge for Rumple to get everyone offside, so that I'm kind of hoping that he wants to push Emma to the point that she thinks that he can't be redeemed, and then she's happy to let him die, and with him the darkness will die. Does that make sense? Obviously this is not what I want because I don't want him to die, and he won't die permanently, but I kind of just hope that that is the path that we're going down now. And my reasoning behind this were, one, when he was fighting with Rumple on the Jolly Roger, let's face it, he could have killed him. Like, there's no real reason as to why he couldn't have killed him. He has magic. Rumple at this point did not. He'd healed his leg, you know, via the wonders of dark magic. But he didn't have, you know, Rumple didn't have any spells to cast or anything, any tricks up his sleeve like that. So Killian as the Dark One could very easily have just killed him, and he didn't. Now, surely, if he genuinely was like all out dark evil revenge, and I know he said, I want to like draw this out and I want to like savour it, I kind of hoped that that was why he didn't actually kill him. Secondly, back in Camelot when he killed Merlin, which is my next point that I would like to discuss, he could have taken Emma's heart and he didn't, because he obviously still loves her. He's pretending to be, or not pretending, but he is so angry with her that he is allowing himself to vent his frustration, but in doing so he knows that it'll push her away. And that brings me back to my third reason, which is that horrible scene that made no sense to me whatsoever, because even though he is furious with her, the things that he said to her were not forgivable. They were not okay. There was no need to throw in the orphan card or talk about how she pushes everyone away, because they were the kind of really cutting things that would be that would like signal the end of a relationship, which I think is why there are some people who are like, oh, Captain Swan's doomed. Captain Swan is not doomed. Have a little bit of faith in the characters and in the writing people. But yeah, I mean, I don't believe, even in his darkest moments, I really don't believe that he would want to say such hurtful things to her deliberately to hurt her. Even if the darkness has completely like taken over, I still don't believe that there's not enough love for her hidden in there to stop him from saying these things. So I figure he wants to push her to the point where she's like, do you know what, you can't be saved. And she makes the decision that she has to let him go, which breaks my heart, because in his mind that would then mean that he would die with her hating him, but I think he would rather that than she live forever with the darkness. I hope. So Merlin's death, oh, like, that really angered me because I loved Merlin. I thought Merlin was such a cool character. I loved that whole storyline with him in Camelot and the backstory with him in Nimue. I thought that was also fascinating, and if he is genuinely dead, I mean, I know he's obviously dead, he got his heart crushed, but I'm kind of hoping if what's going to happen in the next episode in season 5B, what I've heard about, I'm hoping we might get to see him again, because he's such a good character, and I hated that happened, and I hated that it was Killian. Well, it wasn't Killian, because Killian is not the Dark One. Hook is the Dark One. I hated that it was Hook who did it, because, as I say, like, Merlin, out of a lot of the kind of more recent characters, is one that I've really, really liked, and I'm really gutted if that's him gone. The Zelena storyline, I feel really sorry for Sean McGuire, because, as Jake and Jocelyn said in their review, poor Robin has like no lines, so I really feel for Sean McGuire getting made a series regular rather than a guest cast member, and then you get like virtually no lines. It must suck. So I really did feel for him, but I liked the Regina and Zelena interaction talking about the baby, with Regina talking about how Henry was the one thing that kind of changed her life, And I think it was that moment where Regina was talking about how she wouldn't let Zelina near this baby to poison her. And then it kind of clicked with her where she was like, well, hang on a minute, I did awful, awful things. And then it was Henry who made me kind of turn my life around. Maybe the same could happen for Zelina with this baby. I do like, though, if the baby's going to stay with Robin and Regina, I like that. I know that's probably unfair because it's not Regina's baby, it's Zelina's baby, but I like them having that little like family unit, and especially after everything that they went through at the end of season 4, being separated, the fact that they're back together and they're stronger than ever, and then they get to look after this little baby. I love that a lot. The Rumple and Belle scene was heartbreakingly awful, and I think what makes it so good is that it makes absolute sense. Unlike some scenes, it makes perfect sense because Belle, she does love him, of course she does, but she's been through so much with him, and you think about it logically, and as a fan of the show who loves that couple together, you do want to go, what are you doing? Please just take him back, give him another chance, he's a good guy now. But when you think about it, you're like, oh my god, like, yeah, okay, he's not the dark one anymore, but just think about how much he's put her through. All of these years, all of that pain, all of these letdowns and disappointments, all the times that he chose the darkness over her, which is what is now happening again with Hook. And when you look back, it's like a pattern that's happened time and time again in Once Upon a Time. And again, this was something that Jake and Jocelyn were talking about, but Regina killed her own dad because she couldn't give up the darkness, because she couldn't give up the need for revenge. Regina pushed everyone away, she made everyone hate her. Hook killed people, he's talked about this, and he remembers who these people are, but he took their lives. Rumple has done terrible thing after terrible thing after terrible thing. You would need to take a step back and be like, do you know what? I don't know if I'm ready yet to give this another chance, and I have to focus on myself for a little while. So while she's so grateful that he's alive and that he's okay, she's not ready to jump back into that yet, and that's really sad, but makes such good sense, and I think is exactly reflective of the type of writing that this show has. I still have hope for them though, I think they're going to be okay. So moving back to the end of the episode, I don't know what he's doing, because as I say, obviously he wants to open the sort of portal to the underworld to get the Dark Ones out, because I thought that he, when I was having my little kind of thought process, I was like, oh, maybe he's just going to jump into the underworld and he'll be away, but of course he didn't. So he's getting people out from the underworld, so I'm really hoping that he's getting all of the Dark Ones to come back from the underworld so that they can all die together, and then I can bring him back next season and it'll all be okay. However, it looks as if that's probably not what's happening, and that he's bringing them all out there to help him, you know, kill Rumple and snuff out the light and whatever. I don't want to believe it, and I'm not going to believe it at this point. I still have faith in him, and as I say, I still have faith in the writers, and that they will do whatever the best thing is for these characters. I think what a lot of people have pointed out, and that I think is a very good point, is that Hook came into this show as a villain. We met him in the first instance as a villain, but over the course of the past few seasons he has changed and grown and become the man that he was before everything happened with Mila, that you kind of start to forget that. And I think that Colin must be having the best time playing this dark version of Hook. He is doing it so well, and it's so difficult for me because I'm watching it going, I hate this so much, I can't bear it, but at the same time he's doing it so well. Insert Taylor Swift lyric there. If you get that, let me know in the comments down below. I saw that on a GIF the other day. But anyways, he's doing such an amazing job with it, and I'm really nervous / excited for the next episode. The one other scene that I wanted to quickly mention before I go was there was a scene in the beginning of the episode between Mary Margaret and David, where David was like, I can't believe she's done this, I can't believe Emma's done this. And Mary Margaret was kind of like, well, we would do the same for each other, like that's how she feels about Killian, that's what she loves him, that's why she would do it. Don't pretend that you wouldn't do the same thing for me. We share a heart because we would go to the end of the world for each other just like they would. And I thought that was really nice. It was a nice moment to see her talk about how she understood those parallels, because there's so many parallels. I could talk about this for a long time, but I'm not going to because I have to go. So anyway, I'm gonna go get my dinner, but I hope that you enjoyed that ramble. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this episode and how you're feeling about the mid-season finale. I am too excited and horrified all at the same time. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up to let me know, and you can hit subscribe if you want to catch my next review. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye! That was an amazing moment, and he's saved the day and he's the hero, and yeah, he's got a little cut from Excalibur, but then that provided a lovely moment for Emma to go and thank him, and then she healed him with her magic.